and then you get a new winner. And I can guarantee you, man, that at Orlando too, Cooper Webb is going to be right there once again.
I met a gypsy.
Because, I mean, I've got some thoughts on this in terms of how it may have impacted the championship. Like, I honestly think that these guys not being able to go home, not being able to ride, I think, honestly, man, like, I can think of a couple of examples where it has impacted the championship. So I want to get your thoughts first.
I thought there'd be less injuries because guys would, like, during practice, like, when you're racing, you're a lot more focused, I think, you know? And I thought, like, not having those practice days of, like, testing new product or just being a little, like, in the scroll hole and, hey, go hop on your bike. Like, I just thought, like, the East Coast class is proving me wrong. Yeah. Clearly, right? 450 class is a little different, but I'm a fan. I would have been a fan of it. Like, personally, I like to race. I hated, like, that monotony of the week. Like, I'd overtrain. I did a lot of things wrong. So for me, it'd have been better. So yeah, I'm actually interested to hear what you have to say because I kind of don't have an opinion. I'll be honest. I think from a fan's point of view, I think it's been good to have the 2-day a weeks. I like that, but I'm not in it. So what do you think?
So, all right, let's look at Ken Roczen. Wins 3 races in a row on a time when no one went home. So you don't, as the guy that wins the race, so let's say you got the 3 Indies and you don't go home, right? So who is the guy that won the first Indy?
Ken.
Who's the guy that won the second Indy?
Ken.
Who's the guy that won the third Indy?
Ken.
Okay. We might have something here, right? Because you get the guy, and I think this same example applies to the lights class. So you get the guy that wins Indy. He's on the same dirt. He's on the same setup. He's on the same everything, right? And then he wins. And then he goes back to his Airbnb, and he's got his missus, and he's got his kid. He's got his setup. And he knows, like, hey, I just got to go back, and I just got to do that. So then the 19 other dudes, they might have not had the feeling. They might have not had the setup. They might have not had the vibe with the dirt. And then you've got to spend 3 days knowing that you didn't have what it takes to beat Ken. And then you know that when you go, you can have a shit round and then you can go home and you can find something. Or you can trick yourself into thinking you found something. You can do a couple clickers here. You can run a new setting here. And that's all it takes when you're a dude at the top level to go back, especially when we're talking like Cooper with this whole air shock thing. You go home, you go back to Florida, you go back into your comfort zone. That weekend's that's in the rear vision mirror now. And then you go back to the new stadium and you're like, fresh start, fresh championship, like fresh weekend, everything, we've got a chance anew here. But that didn't happen in Indy. Ken just went back to the stadium and in his mind, he just picked up where he left off and then everyone else was searching. And then he wins round 2. And this, what I just said, this compounds again. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then you do it the third weekend.
It'd be interesting to see, like, looking at what you're saying, because I agree with you. Except I just think the whole bike setup thing is more placebo and mental than actual gain on bike.
Hey, but the placebo effect is a placebo effect for a reason.
Yeah. And I think, like, to your point, is like, okay, look at the results of, like, improvement versus not. Yeah. Right? Like, so in between Indy 3 and Orlando, well, we're assuming Cooper went and tested.
Yeah.
Right? He was off the air shock, on the spring shock, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what improved? What was that improvement? Was it like a bike setup? Did guys not, you know, I know what you're saying. I think it's a more of a just straight mental. It's a mental thing. Like, yeah. I mean, but then traditional,
but that's what it takes.
Traditional Supercross though, like went Anaheim, Phoenix, Anaheim, San Fran, Anaheim, San Diego. So there's not that much. I mean, Anaheim is the same dirt, the same whatever. Typically had almost one mutter.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you were hitting Anaheim a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's just not the same. It's not the same thing, I don't think, when you get to go.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You get to go back.
It'd
you
be
get
hard
to go on
to
road
get,
cycle.
You're in that mud puddle, right? Like, you have nothing else, like, especially Indy, you're in the room. It's like quarantine.
Yeah, it's fucking snowing outside.
It's quarantine, but then you get to go race.
Yeah.
It's quarantine, then you get to go race. So, like, you're not going to get that where, like, say, Christian Craig, like, maybe he had this phenomenal, maybe he, he was there when Colt crashed, when, that off weekend, that weekend before. and he saw something weak, so he came out just like, it's all me. But then Colt got second, and then tides can turn so quick. So yeah, I mean, I think it's thrown a variable that we haven't ever seen, staying in a residency. That, how many times they use that word on the live broadcast?
Yeah, drinking game.
The residency, right? Yeah, these residencies have been different for all of us, but I think Anaheim, SoCal is almost a residency in itself.
Yeah, but I just think that there is something to, like, you go home and then you find something. And I know for myself, like in my own training, it's like I'll go and then I get to go home. Maybe I'll go to the gym and just drill with a friend. I had a terrible night, and then I go and I just change up my program a little bit, and I'll go drill a roll here and like fuck around, and then it'll just give me a different feeling. And I know that it's the same on a moto. Like so much of this is just feeling driven.
It's all feeling.
And when you don't get a chance to change that feeling, and you've got to sit with a feeling for 3 days. And then fucking deja vu, Ken wins again. And then that feeling is compounded. And then deja vu, Ken wins again. And then you go back and then you get a new winner. And I can guarantee you, man, that at Orlando too, Cooper Webb is going to be right there once again. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.